I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought.
I can tell you that 7 years after Freddie Gray, that was 2015, spring, April, May. This is 2022. Communities like Sandtown, all we saw then and now in terms of investment was a renovated Western District Police Station and a new funeral home. That's what West Baltimore got. A new police station and a new funeral home. What kind of optics are they? Was Freddie Gray any different than 1968 Baltimore riots? Dr. King's passing, killing, murder? Is it the same?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I think, well, first of all, people who are being violent and burning, that's, you know, all that's the same. But the point is what was the cause and what were they attempting to register?
I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns. They deserve an ounce. It's got next. And I'll be up. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. We have a very special guest today, Mr. Haki, Ammi, and he's all about the community. Haki, good morning. How are you?
Yes, sir. Good morning to you, Brother Doni. It's always a pleasure to see you. I see your work everywhere, and that was a phenomenal piece, promotional piece that you have. We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Freddie Gray. So, you know, yeah, so we can see what the evolution of Sandtown and Baltimore in general. But yeah, thank you though for having me here on your show. It's been a pleasure to watch you over the years and pleasure to, you know, just be a part of your legacy as well to the best of my ability. So thank you, brother.
Oh, you're too kind. You started your journalism career in Sandtown.
Right. Yes. Yeah, no, so thank you. Yeah, I always share that story, just gaining some experience with a newspaper that you started, right? So
No. I didn't start it.
Okay, well, you grew it to, I mean, I don't know how 40, how many.
I gotta pay homage now. Valerie and Mike Jones, to my knowledge, were the initial co-editors. That's my bodyguard.
No, I thought a big dog.
But Valerie and Mike Jones were the first co-editors.
Okay.
And I came in, and then it was Valerie and myself. And you know, that was just as that was my first professional gig.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, yes. And it opened many doors.
Yes. That's great. It's likewise learning from your predecessor, Sister Andrea. So I had a good experience there in the Sandtown community.
I remember Andrea.
Mm-hmm. Right. Good sister.
The early days, early 90s, 94, 95, 96.
Yeah.
So this is what, 30 years later.
Yeah, and it was right around 9/11. I remember I was there during 9/11. Right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And people have tuned in already, man.
Oh, Sharonda.
Hello, Sharonda. Good morning
Yes,
to you.
good sister. Good
And
sister.
so, Haki, since then, one of the first things I remember you doing was your Success Scholar thing. And that's when we both started venturing outside of Baltimore City to Prince George's County.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, one key thing that I always thought, Donnie, is in life and in business, as I was reading different things, and both. Sometimes you have to read things, you have to listen to people, but you have to experience things. And so one thing I always recognize is sometimes you have to gain different allies, right? And so knowing that we're in Baltimore, sometimes we can get a little tunnel vision and feel that, and of course, you plant seeds where you are and you grow where you are, but creating networks of people that support your work and you support theirs outside of your immediate community is a way to grow, certainly locally and nationally and internationally. So Prince George's County, I was able to build some good networks over the years and plant some good seeds for long term. So now I'm sort of reaping some of those 20, 30-year relationships that I created with some pretty heavy hitters down there in Prince George's County.
What makes George Frazier? What was it, George Frazier?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely no. Yeah, so particularly, let me give you this example, and shout out to Miss Peggy Morris. They love you, Donnie. Sisters for Sisters. They always talking about your great work, and so Miss Peggy. But then I started going down there. What's the sister who moved with her husband to New York? They used to bring you there. Odessa, right?
That's a Hopkins and Rick Hopkins.
Yes.
They're in Florida now. They retired.
Right. Oh, right. Thank you for mentioning that. But they had this cafe down there.
CEO Business Cafe.
Right. So I started going down there to just listen and learn. I mean, it was a unique concept. And so I met the Trevor Otts and Shay Brown and a few others. They called themselves the Basement Crew at that time, but they were connected to George Frazier. I mean, I've read Dr. Frazier's book before that when I was part of the My Time movement, and I just never made it to his conference, right? And here I am, Donnie. I was in the Navy, and interesting story about that, but I was still thinking, like, when they were talking about going to the Power Networking Conference, I was still in my small mind thinking, darn, I'm going to be going by myself. Like as if there's some force field around me to say, you need somebody to go with you. So it was just like, but that was a good thing. But it makes me think now that I'm able to travel and internationally travel, sometimes getting on a plane by myself, it's just, I reflect that how I was thinking in my mind, like, am I going to go to Dallas, but I'm going to be by myself. But now I got some people with me, so I'll go. So yeah, so I started going to the Power Networking Conference. It really well-rounded me in terms of meeting some powerful people, and it was in Dallas, and then Miss Peggy actually brought that to Prince George's County and the Sisters for Sisters Network, and so I went there a few years as well to really, consolidate the network that I had nationally.
Mm-hmm. And I then recall, so then you put out some books. Then you put out a book or two, or?
Right. Well, yeah. So, and thank you, and appreciate that. So during this time, my first time at the Power Networking Conference, people sell different, shall I say, marketing, coaching, book collaborations, and so the opportunity for me to do a book with Dr. George Frazier. Now, I read a lot, Donnie, and one of the key books that many individuals speak of is Think and Grow Rich. You can get the original one by Napoleon Hill or the Black choice one, right, by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. But one of the key principles that I learned out of that is when you go into a space, try to think big and think about how you're going to network with the top person. And so I went, because I did tried a lot of different entrepreneurial things. Donnie, you may remember when I tried to start the business on Pennsylvania North Avenue, and you came there to support me. So I always, I know a lot of folk out and live in different places, and they wave and say, "Go, brother, go." But I ain't see them down Pennsylvania North Avenue, like trying to buy little stuff, but I was on a mission. I was like, look, we can, people talk about Pennsylvania North Avenue and bringing money. And I was like, man, I've been trying to do that 25 years ago, like even before I was in the fire department. So I make a long story short. So I thought when they were promoting for this book collaborative, first it was supposed to have been Dr. Frazier and the brother that won The Apprentice, You remember? Oh, man.
Randall
Pickett, Dr. Randall Pickett. Originally, it was supposed to be Dr. Randall Pickett, and I don't know if his time wasn't available for him. And so we was able to get Les Brown, to the table. And so and that came with a lot of training, speaker training. I did like a film with both of them, Black Friday. I think it was part 2 that I had a small part in. So that came, when George would go to Philadelphia, sometimes he asked me, I want to come. I would go up to Philadelphia, New York. So I made my little rounds into his network, and, it's been beneficial. It wasn't free. Some people thought I was crazy, but sometimes you plant seeds and you just be patient. You plant your seeds and eventually they'll grow. Eventually
they will always say such things about an entrepreneur. Because being an entrepreneur can seem crazy. If you're looking at it from a 9-to-5 state of mind.
Right. But
if you're practicing with a Marcus Garvey, can you imagine Marcus Garvey working a 9-to-5?
Right.
He thought that was crazy.
Wow.
He organized the largest organization of Black people in the world.
Right. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I want to ask you about your career as a emergency medical professional.
Right. True.
What did you see?
Well, so as I mentioned, I very briefly mentioned how, even right after high school, Donnie, I went directly into the Navy. I was from the streets of Baltimore, I always, give that. But, I thought like I needed to get away at that particular time. And so I wasn't, early that necessarily that academically astute, but, I was smart enough to, do good enough on the ASVAB test. But so after I got out, after 5.5 years, I was doing different entrepreneurial things between, Baltimore Community College, working, at the Sandtown, Winchester, Viewpoint, having different positions over that time. Something happened in Baltimore. You may remember this when they had that big class, those big white classes. They had 100 something people. A class full of all white candidates in a black city like Baltimore. And I was just like, that was kind of like a wake-up, shake-up call. And then there was an active recruitment process to get black firefighters / EMTs for the fire academy. And so I applied. I mean, I knew that, I mean, in the military, in the Navy particularly, we, do firefighter training. So I knew like, okay, academically or skill wise, I have, a familiarity with many of the things. So I did that 2004 is when I started that. And so, it's been an experience up and down. I mean, and here's the thing, Donnie, I always tell people, because for me, I mean, like I said, I got out the Navy and, tried different entrepreneurial things. And, I wanted, sometimes I just thought like you said about Garvey, like, hey, I'm going to do this thing. And sometimes you need a mentor. You need someone, even at the Sankofa for Children's Museum, your Black Wall Street event, how one of the key brothers said something about mentorship. And I want to mention that particularly because sometimes we have to humble ourselves to listen to individuals who are older and wiser than us. And so for me, going hard towards entrepreneurship, but I realized that, hey, look, and not that I can say this is not running out, but I was researching careers, and that was, a noble career, I thought, for me to sort of center myself to gain some skills, gain some training, and they make pretty decent money, to what I believe finance other causes. So, and I don't feel like entrepreneurially, and I just went over 20 years like last month, I haven't like skipped a beat in terms of, striving to put together entrepreneurial initiatives, to show up in the entrepreneurial spaces, but also to be an advocate for other Black businesses. Like, I mean, just because, somebody, I mean, I don't know what these other people in the fire service think, but we are part of a Black community. We are part of a Black collective, and we need to, we need to encourage our overall economic development within our community. So I made it my business to be present and to become well-rounded in other areas outside of the career path. And so, and so now I'm, close enough being ready to venture off into other things as I near my that time, right? So
I just want to thank you on behalf of the people of Baltimore.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate
for your service. I think firefighters and paramedics, including our white brothers and sisters,
right,
have the biggest hearts on earth.
Yeah,
they have to help. They're charged with helping anybody. They don't get to a scene and say, "Oh, you Black, I can't help you."
Right.
Or you white, you Latino. I've seen firefighters. I've seen you at work right here on this block, right outside my door.
Right.
Serve anybody. You don't check their voter's card. You don't check their education level. You help anybody. And I don't know what's more representative of the love of God. The Christians say Christ. Others say unconditional love. Firefighters are our heroes. As a matter of fact,
thank you. Yes, sir.
When those 3 EMTs, firefighters went down on Stricker Street, it still touches my heart because they didn't deserve to go out like that.
Right.
And again, I've seen firefighters, paramedics help anybody, no matter what they're going through.
Right.
And that is, it doesn't get more noble than that.
Yeah. Yes. No. I certainly, it's been one of the things when a small kid come up to you and just like give you a hug and say, "I love you," like a child that you don't know. I don't know what somebody did for that child, but it makes me feel special to know that I did this for a decent amount of time and able to possibly soon retire. But I would also say, that day was sticks in my memory, because that was actually when the firefighters died. That's on my birthday. It was January 24th, and I was actually working that morning. And so and let me tell you, one of the young men, he started his career. I was in Westport at that fire station, LeKay, and he left that station and to go up to Holland Street. He wanted to engage and be more active, but very nice young man. And he left Montgomery County to come here, Montgomery County Fire Department. So he's a good young man, and always, pleasant. So, it was good working with him, and we, honor his legacy as well.
Okay, so we've talked about Haki. You really didn't plug the book that you had out there, but
yes. So, Mission Unstoppable: Extraordinary Stories of Failure's Blessings. So it's a co-authored book with several other authors that came together. Amazing group of brothers and sisters, and there's one white guy in there, so sharp, white, left-leaning, political, economic genius type of guy. But we've had some tremendous success. I believe we perhaps sold over 200,000 copies collectively, and so that always will be a part of my legacy. I've been able to leverage that towards different speaking opportunities, like Brother Dr. Leroy talked about. Just really, it got me at hosting events at the Congressional Black Caucus, over the years. And so having my face affiliated with these brothers made people kind of give me different levels of credibility, and I recognize that, and vice versa. Sometimes, you think that you always need to be, under someone, but ultimately we created this collaborative opportunities for each other. Likewise, and me bringing Dr. Frazier to Baltimore and to DC as well for book signing. So we, that's our legacy and history together.
It is, and you did a great job. I always wanted to see you do your book, where they wanted to be a part of your book.
Right.
And you got to that point. I want to shift now to Annapolis. How'd you find yourself in Annapolis?
Well, interesting, Donnie. So first, I was the vice president of Yale Heights for some years, and early, I think you may have been there. I think I went to my first event for Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam. It was down at the at Howard Street. I don't know if you were there. What's the brother with Remy spot? So, and I wasn't thinking about like running for anything. Like, it was just me just listening and learning and showing up. But Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam, she's like, would you think about running for the Central Committee? I was like, what's the Central Committee? And, I started asking around and, started listening and learning. And, I just put my name in, and, I'll just call out Delegate Keith Haynes. He wanted to meet with me because he didn't know me like that. He saw me a few times, but we met downtown, and he was like, well, I'm just making sure you ain't going to try to run for my seat. I'm like, man, I don't know about all that. I Senator just asked me to run, and she going to carry me on a ticket. So I'm just doing that. So I did that, and I won.
Whatever happened to Keith Haynes?
I don't know. It was odd and different. I mean, just to step down and not finish your term. I don't know, brother. Like, I don't know. There's rumors, speculations, but there was he didn't tell us like directly anything. And so, I mean, I still see him every once in a while, and I text, in the group text, happy birthday, happy, all right, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy New Year. And, he'll respond.
So let me get to a bigger question.
Okay.
You mentioned Shirley Nathan Pulliam, and we're going to get to Annapolis and your activities. How did you gravitate towards her? What is it about State Senator or former State Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam that you found her worthy to, learn from?
Right. Well, first, I know that she certainly, and she used to come and participate in in Baba Charlie Duggar's Marcus Garvey Day event for some years. So she always would, come to that and support that over the years. And, she's from Jamaican heritage.
Wagwan!
Bookman, right. Yeah. So, and, it was an evolution of like learning what she stood for in terms of, health advocacy and with social determinants of health, and how she was able to put different bills in and just having conversations. And over the years, I started like assisting her more, like going to Annapolis and, and eventually when she couldn't make it to different events, I would, take citations to places and, say a few words on her behalf over time.
Why her though? Why? What is it about her?
Yeah, well, I just knew she was a nurse, so I would, I was dear to nurses from my profession, and just learning. But I just saw her long. She did ultimately. It was like 25 years in the General Assembly, but it's a worthy contribution that she stood up. And one thing I remember, Donnie, and I always tell people this, and it may not be true in every person's case, but she said, just because somebody finance you or contribute to your campaign don't mean that they own you and that you're going to vote a particular way. And so she said she made that clear to people.
Character.
Right. So that's
buy her.
Hmm?
You can't buy her.
Exactly. And that's what stood out to me. And I always repeat that because people think, sometimes people and I've done it before, paint a broad brush and be like, clean house or all of them need to go. But there are different variables that are going on and different dynamics and relationships that, many of us aren't privy to, of why people, sell Black people out, sell out the whole community for a committee position or something. So I'll say that. Right.
And she would serve the least of us.
Wow. Yes. And I know
I'm talking about brothers and sisters behind the walls.
Oh, yes. And I mean, and hearing like even I've seen you at several of her, events over the years, and seeing her, people giving testimonies. She's written letters for people, help people get nursing school, and help people get, doctors and different nurses get different positions. So, I mean, I've heard the testimonies of a lot of different people. And so, she's certainly inspiring. And just matter of fact, just like 2 months ago, I picked up from Kernan and we went and got our toes done for the first time. So I still, catch up with her, and, I see her son. I saw her son around the holidays. He had an event. She called me 10 o'clock at night. Can you go and help Wayne? I was like, all right, I got something else to do, but it worked out. I had 3 events that night, but
I tell you, love Shirley Nathan Pulliam is Dr. Tyrone Taborn.
Oh, yes, absolutely. No, and he's done phenomenal work with the Black engineers, and matter of fact, I was surprised she actually went to was it Florida or Jamaica for his son's wedding, right?
Jamaica.
Yeah, I was surprised she went that far, but she's still getting around, and she was in Florida a couple weeks ago as well, so she's still actually getting around. That's the Downtown Cultural Arts Center, brother. There, that's the spot where the first place I went to that I recall going to one of her events. So yeah, that was good. Yeah, but yeah, so, Tyrone Taborn, good brother.
So, what are you doing in Annapolis now? You working with the Legislative Black Caucus?
Right. Well, and let me tell you, so I was it's interesting. For years, Donnie, I would go to the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation because it was, more popularized. I would go there, and I didn't even know that there was a Maryland Black Caucus for years, right? And so when I found out about the Maryland, I was like, well, I need to, start going, hanging and learning there. Like if you want to start running to DC, for their weekly things, like you got to do stuff at home. So I started going a lot more to the Maryland events when they did their weekend thing. And for years, sometimes I would volunteer, like for 3 or 4 years, I would volunteer even before I knew that there was a Maryland Black Caucus Foundation.
I thought you were going to say before you found out there was a budget to get paid.
Oh, right. So,
because I found a lot of people get there for the money and hoard it.
Right. So
kind of cliquish. And I say that, Haki, because this is a 2-to-1 Democratic state. And one would think that when Black people start penetrating these political doors, they will be more like you, opening the door for other Black people. But I've seen these gatekeepers get inside the door and close the door.
Wow. No,
you ain't got to comment on it because I don't want to cause you no friction.
Well, I mean, I can
see them close the door, and I'm talking about people living West Baltimore.
Wow.
In our communities, they get in them doors and close the door.
Wow.
And then they have the audacity to get mad because they see me talking to a Bob Ehrlich or a Larry Hogan. We are a trip.
Wow. So one thing what I would say to that, I certainly, I mean, and so maybe 6.5 years ago, it took them some time. Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam nominated me to be on the board. I'm currently the parliamentarian board member for the Maryland Black Caucus Foundation. So I've been on the board for 5 years now. It's supposed to be a 6-year term, generally speaking. I mean, and I've been under Chairman Daryl Barnes for majority of the time, and now the chair is Delegate Wilkins in Montgomery County, Prince George's County, Daryl Barnes in Montgomery County, Delegate Wilkins. And so, yes, Baltimore is overdue. We former Mayor Pugh was the chair some years ago. Aisha Brayboy.
We've been at the head of that Black Caucus.
Right.
And from a Baltimore perspective, I've been disappointed. Not with you.
No, right.
But with our mentality once we get there.
Right.
I've seen us become selfish.
Yeah, well,
And I know, like on the Democratic State Central Committee, one has to promise that I support the Democrats all the way through.
yeah, they officially you gotta.
It's like being sworn into a gang. You like, I'm totally with the Bloods,
right,
or with the Crips or BGF. I'm all the way in, 10 toes down.
Yeah.
What I found is that I don't owe anybody. I owe the people of Baltimore loyalty.
Right.
I owe Black people loyalty. And if I can get more resources over here with a Bob Ehrlich for Coppin State University, to where they've gotten more money than ever before, so be it. Or when I think of a Marianne Lasante, remember that delegate from Harford County? It's called Prince George's County, the nigger district.
Right. I remember that, yeah.
They're not my kind of people. And I don't care if they got a D, or R, or I, or whatever behind. And so I guess what I'm saying is I have high expectations of Blacks when we get involved in politics. And again, I'm not speaking about you. I'm thinking about some of these statewide elections and how we, like when Anthony Brown ran for governor, they had signs up Liberty Heights that said, vote for the Democrats. As if Black people are stupid. When I look at East Baltimore and West Baltimore in a 9-1 Democratic city, Haki, I'm just not impressed. Now, I'm big up to Senator Antonio Hayes. As a matter of fact, he's our 2024 Man of the Year.
Oh, great.
And I've seen him in Annapolis going back to our days in Sandtown. Not just Annapolis, but City Hall. He worked in City Hall. He worked in Annapolis.
Right.
And I hope he becomes our congressman one day. Or
you putting him out there, brother. You putting him out there, all right?
What are we waiting for?
Well, I mean, I don't think Mr. Infame is running again. So that might be, in the making. So so all right, that's
Corey McRae.
Say again.
Corey McRae. I like both Antonio Hayes and Corey McRae.
Right. True.
They have both demonstrated their worth, their value, and they're Black men, young Black men, still teachable, willing to learn. I'm really excited about Senator Hayes' the 28 million he brought back to West North Avenue, because as this show alluded, this is the 10th year since Freddie Gray. And like I know, in our lifetime, we have never seen any attention to West North Avenue. None.
Right.
None. Until now.
And that's and matter of fact, I was at the 40th district meeting, and I didn't know that whole the north to west corridor, they have more people traveling on that bus route than anywhere else in the city. So, yeah.
We got to get our mass transportation together. I'm telling you, anytime it's a half hour in between trains, it's like, you can't call this a mass transit.
Oh, wow.
There was 30 minutes in between trains. Is that mass transit?
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah.
When I look at Upton subway station and I contrast that to Johns Hopkins subway station, is that equity? I mean, one is full of life, the other looks like a funeral home.
Yeah, I know that Upton, I ain't been on in a while, but when I saw it, I was like, man, and that Pennsylvania Avenue station,
we deserve better. Don't come to me, vote for this person, vote for that person. What's the ROI, the return on that investment? We deserve top notch like everybody else. Everybody, you talked about Durrell Bonds. Nobody wins Maryland without winning Prince George's County, Baltimore City, Northwest Baltimore County. Shirley Nathan Pulliam, her district used to come into the city, but essentially she's the Liberty Road corridor.
Right.
So I'm glad that you understand our political power. Baltimore City, Prince George's County, Northwest Baltimore County. Anybody that wants to win the state of Maryland has to touch base with the political powers that be in those 3 jurisdictions.
Right.
Nobody wins without us. Nobody.
Right.
Democrat or Republican.
Right. Absolutely. With 29, 30% of the Maryland population. Yes, absolutely. 1/3. And we had the largest Black caucus in the country. And so, and that's why, I appreciate my position there. And, I'm feeling, and I know sometimes you got to do things on the inside. Sometimes you do things on the outside, but I recognize, and there are people, and I've been in some of the closed door meetings where they are ironing out these conversations about, how we as Black people need to will power. So some of the people in the Black caucus, they speak up, authentically,
Man, I remember when Mike Miller was down there, Mike Miller and Mike Bush. Mike Miller ran the Senate. He was a bully, particularly to the delegates and state senators from Prince George's County. Mike Bush wasn't overtly anybody's bully. He did help empower, I thought, on many levels. Now Speaker of the House, Adrian Jones. I think it took too damn long, but she's there now.
Right.
But now that we have the reins, what are we going to do?
Right. Yeah, true.
One thing, big ups to the Black governor. One thing before he went into office that was important to me is Baltimore and Prince George's County Public Schools. We are at 23 and 24 in the state.
Right.
Where is the task force to look at these 2 school jurisdictions? Why are the 2 majority Black school jurisdictions at the bottom? Also, curriculum. Why aren't our children learning in Baltimore City public schools about Black millionaires, about Black history, about Reginald Lewis, but before him, Willie Adams, who helped start the Maryland State Lottery, and before him, Tom Smith.
Tom Smith.
People don't even know about Tom Smith. He's in the Maryland archives. Lived in the 6600 block of Reisterstown Road, ran the lucky numbers. He was the largest Black hotelier in the United States. Largest contributor to the then Democratic Party, which today would be the equivalent of the Republicans. Tom Smith, Maryland Archives, hidden in Google.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, no, I missed that. Yeah.
Matthew Henson. Out of Southern Maryland. First man to discover the North Pole. I want to say Charles County. I mess it up. I used to say
I think so, because I think I met some family down there.
Taraji P. Henson.
Right.
Relative.
Yeah.
Or Benjamin
Right.
Banneker.
That too. Right.
Benjamin Banneker out of Baltimore County. Memorize the schematics for Washington, D.C. Memorized. This kind of Black history must be taught in schools.
Right.
If Maryland is truly democratic, considering what places like Florida are doing and banning books, when are we going to flex our power?
Absolutely.
And reparations.
Right.
Don't be scared. If you're scared, not you, of course, Haki. We know you're a warrior, but don't get out there. Don't get into it if you're going to be scared. If it's just about you, I'm delegate so-and-so, I represent this district. We need warriors. We need gladiators on the floor of the House, on the floor of the state Senate, speaking truth to power. You remember Clarence Mitchell III? The bear.
Mm-hmm.
He said the 11 members they had in their caucus got more done than what we're doing today.
I've heard things like that, right?
Styling and profiling, taking selfies on Instagram. Maybe we take too many damn selfies.
Right. Yes, sir. Interesting that you mentioned about Clarence Mitchell. Some folks in Anne Arundel County try and do something for Perrin Mitchell. I think that they want a bus or like a statue or something that they're working on. So, yeah, I appreciate that, Mr. Snowden and some others, Carl Snowden trying to, make that happen. But
slavery's over, man.
Yes, sir.
Sharonda reminds us of Victorine Adams, first black woman on the city council in Baltimore.
Yes.
And let me tell you this, man. I saw, and I guess I'm finally going public with it. I saw where Fox and the Baltimore Brew have tried to drag Stephanie Rollins Blake's name through the mud.
I saw the initial Fox News article. I didn't know what the Brew did, but okay.
Brew did it first.
Okay.
A $2 million business loan. I am reminded that white people lose money all the time.
Right.
I'm reminded that white people do drugs all the time.
Right.
I'm reminded that white politicians do the same thing, but it's never brought to the news. Marion Barry. The mainstream media tried to drag him through the mud. Nobody talks about Kevin Kamenetz in Baltimore County and what happened to him.
No, what happened to Kevin Kamenetz? I mean, okay.
It's be more news, the news before the news.
Okay, all right.
We uncover the truth. Nobody talks about Kevin Kamenetz. What happened to him? He was relatively healthy.
Yeah.
I'll give you another one. 2 sheriffs up in Harford County, 2 white sheriffs got killed. A few years back, a white guy did it. They never put his picture on the news. But the Ford brothers down in Prince George's County had a shootout outside of a Prince George's County police station. And before they went to lock up, their pictures were on the news. All 4 faces, the Ford brothers.
Wow.
They had a shootout, but these two white sheriffs got killed in Harford County by a white man.
Wow.
And they never put his picture on the news. Never.
Wow.
So we got to be mindful of mainstream media. It is not our friend.
Wow. I feel you. Absolutely.
Mainstream media is not our friend. And so that's why it's important that we have our own voices. And it's important that when our black elected officials do get in office, they support black media. And I want to thank you for supporting black media.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
You were sort of raised in the black media, and it's not easy because sometimes people want to gauge us and compare us to the Sun. I remember when the guy who owns the Banner was in that process, and the Sun came out with an apology to the black community. Oh, now you want to apologize?
Wow. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I wonder what was up with that. Right. Okay.
We got to support our own, man. We got to support our own. Now the Sun wants to apologize for the decades and generations of unfair reporting. Remember the guy that opened the brew, he bought half of the Sun's staff. He wanted to buy the Sun. So since they wouldn't let him buy the Baltimore Sun, he hired half of their staff.
Wow.
Well, look at Fox. Why is Fox pushing issues like term limits, like reduction of city council? Who the hell are they? Who the hell is Sinclair Broadcasting? And why do some of our most famous Black leaders, why are they over there? For some airtime?
Right. They got to think about that. They got to think about who you're actually reaching. And
Sinclair put up red, black, and green signs in our community, and our Black leaders allowed it.
No, I don't know that. Wow.
That kind of betrayal.
Wow.
Not all of us were meant to be elected officials. Some of us run Haki and lose and are bitter.
Right. True. Yes, sir. Brother. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Indeed. Yeah. And that's where, and this is where me just, centering myself and knowing like everybody has a role to play. And we as a collective have to understand what actually is power in this society. And ultimately
Shirley Napoleon would never sell out, ever. She never sold out.
Right. Yeah, no. And that's where, integrity, like you said, integrity matters and character matters. And, when people are too, just greedy, that's the term, greed. I was looking for the word. And they think that somehow by bending over for, and compromising yourself, that you're going to be rewarded for that. And ultimately, we can build up our own power base. And Maryland, for what it's worth, should be an example. And this is why, I appreciate being in this position, because whether, anybody, give me that level of respect or whatever, ultimately I want to and that's the difference when you don't need people's money like that. And this is what I always had, that mindset, even having a position or whatever. You want to think independently. You want to move towards independence, regardless of where your station in life is, so that you're able to not necessarily be compromised and have people say, I gave you this and you must do this. And I know that's how, how the game is played down there in Annapolis. I talk to lobbyists, some different lobbyists, both the Black and white, and I'm grateful that Darrell Bonds is, has pushed for more Black lobbyists over the past, since he left the General Assembly. And so, that's ultimately one of the things I want, this year with several individuals, just take things to another level. It's like, okay, what's next? Here, kind of socializing and learning, but what is the next phase? And people ask me what I'm doing. Oh, but one thing I'm helping Sister Sharonda as she runs in the in Baltimore County. I didn't know she was going to be on. I didn't even tell her, so it's good that she's on. But she's running for city council out there. So I'm the chair of her campaign committee, and I've been able to assist a few campaigns over the years and gained some tremendous experience. But I don't know if that's going to be my niche, brother. And so I always tell people, just like, now that Daryl Bonds, he had an event in Prince George's County a few weeks ago, just going to your event. I mean, for what it's worth, I want to be, positioning, in the business spaces and understanding what's going on with these procurements and MBE. I know the governor, I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but it's like, he put out a very bold agenda to, get more contracts for individuals. And tentatively.
Are we getting more contracts? That's what we want to know.
Yeah.
We love the historical marker.
Right.
I was not a fan of Martin O'Malley, but Martin O'Malley pushed MBE. And let me say something else, Haki.
No, good point. Good point. Thanks for mentioning
MBE truly serve us? Because MBE quite often pushes subcontracting agenda. I'm a prime. When they want to run for office, they don't say, are you MBE certified? They ask, can you reach the people? I'm a prime. I'm not a sub.
Oh, wow.
In my arena, I'm not interested in being a sub to anybody. So MBE is something that we need Black politicians to push, but we also need them to push prime contracts. And that's where the 10% business reserve, which came under Bob Ehrlich, actually established under Bob Ehrlich, a Republican. I'm just saying, I want us to be more business-minded, more business-oriented. I want Baltimore to be more business-oriented. Other than Constellation Energy, what Fortune 500s do we have? Are we attracting business, or are we chasing it to Baltimore County, Howard, elsewhere? Even the rebuilding of the bridge. Are Blacks getting contracts?
Oh, yeah, right. Absolutely. No, it's a good question. All good questions.
And I don't think it's disrespectful. I say it's being accountable.
Right. Yes.
Don't give me lip service. Don't urinate on my leg and tell me it's raining. Our businesses need contracts.
Absolutely.
And that's where Baltimore and Prince George's and Northwest Baltimore County have to stand strong on one agenda. Just like Speaker Adrian Jones was talking when she first became Speaker, talking about the Black agenda. It can't be just rhetoric.
Yes. No, I agree. I mean, Maryland should be setting an example, and that's what I'm just listening for, like some success stories. I want to see some success stories. I want to hear what we've done for Black people and Black business. I mean, let me give you an example. And Daryl Bonds, I mean, he was that's what he talked about. And I don't want to keep calling his name. I mean, of course, Sister Janelle, does a great job, but not to compare or contrast either. But I recall him, just mentioning, before one session, maybe 6 years ago, we had, we would go to Annapolis starting from June, July, August, all the way up to December. We sat for like 6 hours each day, and we broke into different committees for just once a month. And we had different committees focused on different industries, different areas. And I was actually on the economic committee. I think some bankers, Brother Dees and Brian Byron, and I think what's the Meridian Mitch? What's the brother? I'm sorry,
Stanley Tucker.
Yes. It was a few. I mean, some of the biggest heavy hitters in Maryland would show up, for this session. I mean, for months, and we developed. There was a lot of knowledge. And, you know, and I'm not saying, and Sister Kim Taylor, the delegate from Prince George's County, was there. She remembered all that. And we still talk about, you know, those times that we did that, because there was a lot of institutional knowledge and cross-pollination of knowledge that was shared during that period. And so I feel, you know, that, and I'm not like, you know, sometimes you have to know like where you are in the process. Are you the shot caller, or are you just there to kind of be the bridge for the next generation, whoever that may be? But I know that the people that were in the rooms were the best and brightest in the state of Maryland over that time. And it was, you know, an honor for me to be there, just kind of listening, learning, because these folks are in their 60s, 70s, and, you know, they have a wealth of knowledge and experience. And so now I'm like, all right, now when Governor Westmore is in the place, and not that he's, you know, an island by himself, but, you know, he has Derek Davis, of course, and, you know, the comptroller, and, you know, I mean, but Baltimore has to, I mean, we got Ferguson, we got, you know, Baltimore has to retain, and this region has to retain some power. And, you know, just speaking, you know, affirmatively about, you know, that. So, I just mentioned that to say, because sometimes there are competing demographic interests between the state and you know, Prince George's County, and, you know, different people trying to bring resources to their constituents out of the main budget. So
let me tell you this, Haki, when they can fix Raven Stadium, and this is before Craig even got to the Maryland Stadium Authority, when they can do repairs to Raven Stadium, repairs to Camden Yards, but we got schools in Baltimore City without air and heat, it's unacceptable.
Wow.
And again, this is before Craig even got there. Millions of dollars in repairs on the stadiums. But we got schools with no air and no heat. And we talking about expanding gambling? Bruh, these people need as Brother Bay would say, they need a checkup from the neck up.
Neck up, right.
Why are you there? Not you, Haki.
Yeah.
Why are we there? Why are we at these tables? We fixing stadiums, but we not fixing schools. And we wonder why the kids don't care. Haki, you wanted to plug some events. Let's get to that. Make sure we do that. You got them in front of you. I'm gonna give you the screen, and you can.
Well, I don't have it on my laptop. I have it on my phone, but I can plug it, and if with your permission, I'm gonna do some replays of this, and I can, you know, put them up on stream. I'm a StreamYard person too, so I know how to work it. But so first,
come on more. I know Sharonda's got some events, but for instance, you have you got a Malcolm X bus trip coming up,
right?
Is that around Malcolm's birthday?
Yeah, no, that's actually on Malcolm's birthday. So that's May the 19th. And let me just, you know, give a quick. So for years, I mean, I've been on a bus tour to New York for the Malcolm X bus tour. And of course, you are aware of the Soul School Institute, Baba Tunji, who transitioned maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but several individuals who just simply knew me, they said, they you know, asked me like, you know, somebody got to do this again. Like, so what's going on? Malcolm X would have
be like, hold up. I got a lot on my plate, and I'm gonna encourage you, Haki, don't let people put stuff, all due respect, don't let people put stuff on your plate if they're not going to help. Absolutely. No, I agree. All things to all people.
Right. No, I agree 100%. And that's, you know, where you use good judgment and time management. So definitely, I'm always thinking of how, I mean, I know I just have to watch the things I do, but I felt
we can get burned out, man. Public service, you can get burned out doing public service.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
when you need
no,
people to be there for you, but that bus trip, that actually goes up to Malcolm's grave, to his burial site.
yes, and I'm still Professor James Smalls is the contact up there, and I'm possibly I'm working to get Peter Bailey, who's in DC. See if he can get on a bus and go with us up there. But yes, the gravesite, possibly the Malcolm X house that was bombed. But now the Audubon Ballroom where Malcolm was killed is now the Shabazz Center. I haven't been up there yet, and I'm trying to fit in, Donnie, possibly. I'm going to see how much time we have, but a United Nations tour. I saw you on your video that, you've been to the UN. I think I've been there.
New York City at the
Again?
UN. That was our first event in New York City. We had a Black Capital Awards. That was the name before Black Wall Street. Black Capital Awards at the UN. Big ups to Peggy Mars.
Oh,
Janet
wow.
Salazar was our point.
Wow.
Janet is still there. Matter of fact, I met her through Bob Ingram, who just got his wings.
Wow. Okay. Rest in peace.
So maybe, and let me thank you. You came to one of our Black Wall Streets up there in Harlem.
Yeah, Harlem. Right. Indeed. Yes, sir.
There are
Yes,
more Black Wall Streets in Harlem than any other place outside of Baltimore City. Even DC.
Wow.
We've got
Okay.
more in
Wow.
Harlem than in DC.
Yeah. No. Let me know. I love to come again, brother. I love to come to New York, get some good food. So but yeah. So actually, I've been to the UN one time. There, and then to some side events. For some of the permanent forum for people of African descent and the summit of the future, just this past couple months ago. But so it's possible. I'm trying to see if I can fit in, if not a United Nations visit, perhaps maybe just take a photo op outside and have somebody talk about Malcolm's role at the United Nations, and even when President Fidel Castro came up to the UN. Just want to put plug for the People's Republic, the revolutionary Cuban people. But yeah, so that's on the 19th. But I got some time, for that. But I think that there's a group of elders that have gone before that are willing to help. Actually, someone called me yesterday and was offering, to help. So I feel like, people appreciate that legacy that was started. So I just figure,
and you gotta deputize some people. They deputizing you. You gotta delegate.
Exactly.
You can't do everything by yourself, and it's got to be a we effort.
Right.
Nobody should. We if you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. Tell me about this March event where you're celebrating Ghanaian independence. Ghana, home of Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes. And so officially, the Ghana Independence Day was March the 6th. I believe 57. I'm sorry, my years might be. But yeah, I believe 57. I'm not sure how many years that this is going to be. 58. No, 68 years. I don't know. But so March the 8th at Sankofa Children's Museum. And shout out to the Sankofa Children's Museum. And, I picked that tactfully because the founder, Mama Kiki, is she's Ghanaian there. And so, we wanted to, Donnie, I've partnered with what's called the Mandela Fellows. That was a program started under President Obama. Each year, over 50,000 young people apply from Africa to come, and over 700 of those actually come. And so we did some things with the Sankofa Children's Museum. We also did something with some youth in Park Heights. I have an office house there. And we did some work with the Sankofa Children's Museum with Baltimore City youth workers. So we had some of them over the summer. And shout out to Nick Mosby office, who gave them all citations at their graduation. So that's the Ghana Independence Day event.
68 years.
68? Good, I said it. Yeah, I said 68. I was just on top of my head because I couldn't remember. But yeah, thank you, brother. So we're looking forward. We have a Queen Mother that's going to actually be present there. So she's from here, but she's a Queen Mother. But we're excited. I've reached out to some of the because Brandon Scott actually grew up around there, so like right on that corner. So I sent them an invite, courtesy. He
grew up on what corner?
Right there on Cold Spring and Pimlico. I heard him say that before. And matter of fact, Mama Kiki, she said that, Brandon showed her his grandmother's house, which is somewhere close there. So I'm like, look, man, this is your final term. Like, I ain't gonna say it's his final term. Donnie, that was a debate. I'm sorry. Can they run more than 2 terms, or there's not a term limit, right?
I don't know the answer to that. Smoke had 3 terms.
Yeah.
Fox News came in with this 2-term thing. The real question is, who do we have on the bench?
Right.
Who do we have as next?
Yeah.
And when are we going to stop listening to Sinclair broadcast and tell us who our leaders are and who our leaders are not?
Right.
Because the way I see it, after years of a black mayor, it seems like, and no slight to Zeke Cohen, but it's like the end of a black mayorship in Baltimore, a 66% black city, is coming to an end unless we get our sugar, honey, and iced tea together. Right. But there's one more thing that we need to plug, and Sharonda, I think you might need to hire this lady. What's happening on the 24th?
Yeah, thank you, brother, and thank you, Sharonda. Yes, so that's actually my Earth Solar Return birthday, and last year I turned 50. We did something at the UB Blake Center, so this is going to be a little smaller space, but over Kwanzaa, brother, I was at over East, shall I say, 3 different times for the opening. They TNAT, the Temple of New African Thought. And I thought that, because the brother minister, Dr. Saar Winkler, who his sister actually works for Corey McCrae. And so, let me give a shout out to Kalen Young, delegate. He did a Kwanzaa there at TNAT as well. So I just thought, shoot, let me go ahead and organize. We're going to have some free food.
Is Kalen involved in politics, or was that the twin?
No, so Caitlin is the delegate in the 45th, and Calvin is I don't know if he works for the mayor's office. Right.
Okay. Which one used to work in Harvard Bank?
I think that's Calvin.
Calvin, okay.
Right. And I still get them confused, although, because I saw Calvin in Annapolis, and I thought he was Kalen, but he was with Mayor Scott. So I was like, all right, that's Calvin. Right. And he cut off
the 24th event. Your 24th event is on
6 to at TNAT 5542 Harford Road.
5525 Harford Road.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So 6 to 9, we have Sandy Mallory's son is going to play the sax there. Joe Cooper Project. I don't know if of course, you might be familiar. So I just saw him. Yeah. So, and I'm trying to get a young kid to do some drumming there. I want the young people there as well. But principally, I'm going to, show some photos. I'm going to do a PowerPoint because Dr. Saar, he wanted me to speak there, do a lecture there. So I'm combining it to talk about the Ghana tours, as well as the tentative tour to Tanzania this year. And I've been to Tanzania.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah, I've been to Tanzania, not to Ghana. I've been to Tanzania, Kenya, South Africa, Ethiopia. I mean, over the past few years. And so, but Tanzania, like 3 or 4 times. Say again?
I first went to Ethiopia. This is back in 06 and Tanzania. And I was glad that Ethiopia, you should be very glad that you made it to Ethiopia. Man. It is the only country never colonized other than 2 years of occupation by Mussolini. But I consider it, and other scholars do, some other scholars do, the capital of Africa. When you think of Emperor Haile Selassie,
yes,
you think of how many of us know that Ethiopia is the oldest Christian nation on earth?
Absolutely.
They've taken out Christianity,
and
it's been flipped, twisted,
perverted.
Yeah,
right.
We don't even know about Amadi.
Right.
We don't even know what we think we know. Lauryn Hill was singing about Lalabella.
Right. Yes.
We don't even know because we've allowed somebody else who've given us a watered down, whitewashed version of Christianity. Father, son, left out the mother and the daughter. Because when we study our history, you know, it's the father, the mother, and the child. Right. But European culture has taken a woman out of it.
Yes. No, they've been very hostile actually to women at,
misogynistic.
Right.
And the saddest part is how we have taken on a misogynistic mentality even in our hip hop music today. That's a whole other discussion. Haki, how can people get in touch with you? Special thank you to Sharonda. I've never met her in person, but we do want to get her on this show, and we certainly want to hear her platform, hear what she is about.
Thank you. Yes.
How can people get in touch with you, Hami?
Certainly. Well, I'll just go and give out my number, 410-209-9687. Again, 410-209-9687. And, I have, I'm also,
help me out. 410
209
209
9687.
So let me put this up here on the screen, help you out. Anybody want to get in touch with you?
Right. Thank you.
There you go.
Donnie, you ever feel like if you don't, like KRS once say, if you don't know me by now, I doubt you ever know me, I
thought Patti LaBelle sang that, and probably somebody before her.
Oh, right. Oh, really? Okay. No, but that's how I sometimes feel like, look, I mean, if you don't know how to reach me by now, it's like, ain't too, like you can Google me and, see like I have like over 400 videos on various social medias. I mean, on YouTube over the years. So
allow yourself to reintroduce yourself.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Let me tell you something. Kwesi Mfume is a master at. He never stops campaigning.
Right.
You're an author. You can never stop campaigning because there's always somebody who hasn't heard your story.
Absolutely. No, good point. You're absolutely right. I certainly recognize that. And
then people go through seasons. We go through seasons. Communities go through seasons. Countries go through seasons.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, so definitely. And so I appreciate, this opportunity, brother. So just and shout out to Senator Carter. She had her last day in Annapolis last week, and she had a toasting where
who's gonna get that seat, man? Come on, cut the crap. Who getting the seat?
Malcolm Ruff, Delegate Malcolm Ruff of Murphy, as you say on the bottom, Murphy and whoever that
Falcon and Murphy.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna say it's a shoe-in, but I got word that
no, because there are other opposing forces.
Right. Well, I got
the lady's name before when Lisa Gladden first won that 41st senatorial seat, but it was Barbara Hoffman. And Lisa Gladden spanked that.
Right.
She had dump trucks going all the way up Emerson Avenue.
Wow.
We have power, and power concedes nothing without the man. It never did, and it never will. So all of that stepping fetch it and playing nice. Remember, Maggie McIntosh did not want Adrian Jones to have that seat. Derek Davis bowed out. Derek Davis could have took that vote to the floor.
Right.
Power concedes nothing without the man. It never did, and it never will. In terms of new generation, new people, let's not lose some basic values like respect, like character, like integrity, like not selling out. I don't care if you're old or young. A young slave is worse than an old slave. Because a young slave got more legs and energy. But if they're going to come in with a renewed spirit that goes back to the days of a Harriet Tubman, if Harriet Tubman coming tonight at 11 p.m., say, meet you over there at Penn North, she jeopardized her freedom to go back and help somebody else get freedom. We don't have that freedom fighter spirit already within us.
Right. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So yes, brother. So we, have to highway to nowhere, Amtrak contract should be secured minority bids. And I think I saw
a whole other discussion.
Right. So
Go Ravens. We had a good day yesterday.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, that was
one lady. I ain't gonna call her name out, but she will not let it go. The Steelers lost. I ain't gonna call out. She my Facebook compadre, but geez, you lost.
Yeah, their season ended pretty poorly there, shall I say? So
okay, don't hate on us.
They're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. The Steelers are so, but. We going to the championship this year.
Go Ravens!
We gonna beat the Chiefs this year. We're gonna upset them, the biggest upset in history, right? So we gonna get there.
I'm gonna put my number out there. Tanya Crawley wants to talk about these. I've tried to get people on here to talk about the train contracts and all that's happening with that 443 26.
Right.
Ms. Crawley, you can reach me if you'd like to discuss this further, but we're gonna get up out of here for today.
Thank you, brother.
I hope we served your purpose and I hope you accomplish your goal.
Thank you, my brother. All right.
Up the day, down tomorrow, do your day, and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it regardless of how I feel. I am somebody. I am my brother's keeper. Good afternoon.